let me be fair to the women, because you getting on the man, but in a woman's like for a woman's part, a lot of women in our community don't understand that we've been given the opportunity for that knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Most men have that issue, but most women have the key to their issue. We know the answers. We know how to fix this, because we as Black women, we didn't start off with this luxury of being able to having the choice to work and all this stuff. We came from the same slavery background, the same ass whooping and discipline. We was disciplined like boys, because they be, oh, you women. No, we was raised by single moms too, and we was disciplined just like the boys, but we had to work through that to get to this point. So when it's time for us to guide the men into that, they see it as, oh, you bashing us, oh, you attacking us. And that's the thing, they have to learn how to trust us when we're trying to navigate them into, okay, hold on, you tweaking right now, you're a little bit too emotional. Even the guys on the panel, they'll get emotional before us. They'll start raising their voices. They'll take shots at our backgrounds, our lifestyles, and no man is checking them and saying, hey, you a little emotional right now. You doing what you blame them doing this whole time. You know what I'm saying? Because if we say it, they telling us we can't identify it. It has to be another man to do it. And it's not enough emotionally mature men telling these men, hey, you're not talking to her right. You're not patient enough. This is not how you talk to a woman. That's how you check a man. But she's not a man. She's a woman. And I understand that you didn't get a chance to see your father handle a woman the way a woman should have been handled, but you don't handle women like that. And that's the reason why I had to step back from the other podcast. Because one thing I did come on there aggressive. I did come on there yelling. I did come over there over talking men. I didn't understand that men took that as disrespect. But once they told me that, I self-reflected, but I wasn't getting that same self-reflection back. When I tell you as a woman, I don't reciprocate to this, and all the women on the panel is telling you we don't reciprocate to this, don't tell us, well, y'all just need to stop. That's like us ignoring what y'all telling us when it's time for us to understand y'all. No, understand us. We're telling you, you're coming off aggressive. You're being disrespectful. You're getting off topic. You're bringing up my past life in order to validate your point, but not to gain an understanding. That's where you starting to cross my boundaries. That's how I felt about
So I
the
just want to
last.
say this. I know Shan wants to jump in, and I know we're about to close. But first, I want to say welcome to Chic Critique. It's funny that you mentioned that because tonight you actually got one of those rare opportunities that actually typically doesn't happen. Um, or every scenario you just painted happened tonight. When it appeared that Will was losing it, we'll give you the mic. She Critique will give you the mic until Shan gets fed up with you.
Facts.
But but
Thing is,
here's
Shan got a lot of patience. So if Shan's fed up, then you should know something's wrong with you.
but here's what happened, and you actually saw it. I want to say both between a little bit of Maroon and myself. It was, yo, bro, like real talk. This is a Chic Critique. You got to understand where you're at and the way the dialogue works. This is actually a woman led pod, bro. And if you notice, and I hope people watch this on the replay, check it out. It will upload a few hours after we're done tonight. So don't hesitate to actually rewatch the show. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to Lapeef Experience and Lapeef Network. Um, but if you watch it back, what you'll notice is the tone and the temperature change. Now, did he continue driving a point? Yeah, you're allowed to continue to drive your point. But what's not going to happen is you're not going to yell at Die. You're not going to fuss at Mistaken, and you're not going to fuss at Shan. But because I'm going to go ahead and say it,
You set the
we've had the
tone.
conversation about accountability. We've already had that. Shan has an expectation. If you can't live up to that expectation, maybe this is not the right place for you. But the whole deal is when y'all come off and you say it, it sounds very different coming from Die. It sounds very different coming from Mistaken. And it sounds very different coming from Shan when you're talking to a man. Because
Well,
it sounds a bit naggy. It sounds a bit aggressive. It's like, man, hold on. And other men will sit back and be like, man, this woman done came off this way. They'll sit back and let it happen. Now, the unfortunate thing for you, Miss Di, is that you were labeled. As before you were able to make that adjustment and identify what kind of pot it was, you were already labeled, and it's like, oh, we're gonna let this bitch have a conversation. I know they didn't call you the B word,
yeah, I know.
but we're gonna let this conversation happen instead of saying, hey, bro, watch who you talking to, because I actually saw your changes on the other pod, and I'm like, okay, I dig her, I dig this chick. But I still love my Mistaken, and I still love my Shan. So they're my girls.
I'm confused. Did something happen?
Not
No,
well
it's
on
just the way the dialogue
the
is
last
always the
time I
way
was
the
there,
dialogue
I
go down.
just feel like this is how I feel. They set the tone for how men want to be treated, but when we speak about how we want to be treated, they don't respect it, and they don't respect the tone. And I feel like that encourages the problem that we have today, and I can't be a part of that. I would rather be on the podcast, and I don't care if this one gets less views. I'm not here for the algorithm and for the views. I want to learn something. I want to engage in intellectual conversation. I want to get somewhere. I want to gain an understanding. I'm not there to antagonize people. And I felt like at times we will be antagonized, and I don't know how to do that for fun, for views. I take it very personal. And until I learn how to be more mature and engage in those, I don't want my brand, what I planned out. Because when we're on here, we're building a brand. That's why I had to start changing, just certain ways I was speaking and talking. I don't want my brand to come off combative. I want to be understanding from other points of views. I don't feel like women was getting that understanding. I feel like every time we explain how we felt, they like, no, you need to not feel that. And it's like, well, if all of us is telling you this is how we're reacting biologically to when you're not providing, to when you're not communicating in a healthy way, to where we don't trust you, why are you telling us to switch when those are the red flags that's gonna make you a better man? I'm telling you, you feel me? Where it's a reason we all feel this way, and that's why when I'm on there, I enjoyed that space, because that's where men were actually saying, "Hey, biologically, we're all on the same page about this. We need to be uplifted." You know what I'm saying? But don't be one sided. Make sure you do it for both, because as a man, that's your job. Because as you can see, when they jumped in and gave our points, Will was a little bit more receptive. But without the man there, talking to another man is gonna always be that gap. And when the men weren't doing that, I was kind of disappointed sometimes. Sometimes they would. They did it with Darwin. They did it with him. Darwin came back, apologized. Me and Darwin got a clear understanding, and I forever loved Darwin for that. But when they was on there like, you black women, you black bitches, and y'all
Well,
all
what
go
show are
this,
we
like,
referring to? Because I think people, just to save the confusion, what show are we talking
Is
about?
that the
Thursday night, let's talk, baby.
okay,
Thursday show?
Oh, the
yeah.
last Thursday show. To my last night?
No, 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 no. Like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Oh,
Shay,
okay.
I don't know if you know this, but I haven't been on there. I have not been
Yeah,
engaging. I have
yeah.
not been participating, because it's just not even when I'm on there. Sometimes I'm not on there, and I still see the men come on there, and when they get riled up because they feel like we're attacking them, they're like, "Well, what about y'all black bitches?" And it's like, them black bitches. The same way you be like, them little boys, them black bitches. Don't blame me for what they doing to y'all. You know what I'm saying? But they attack us, and I don't like that. I don't like when they attack us directly and say, y'all heifers, y'all this, y'all that, because I'm not doing it to the black men on this panel. I know y'all are men of substance, or else I wouldn't even be talking to y'all, taking advice and having these conversations to where we could, come to some sort of understanding. But you calling me black bitches and black heifers and all that, I don't like that. I didn't
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, one of the things I said in the last show is like I think the one thing that we have to do besides just raising the bar is like we as men, just like we as black people, specifically men, we've got to stop allowing we got to stop disrespecting each other publicly. It's encouraging other people to say, "Oh, well, these people are less desirable," or we can make them the butt of the joke too. Like we need to cut all that out. Like I'm not letting people call black women out their name, make racist tropes, make racist memes. I'm not allowing that to happen. I think
Because
we.
even when Shannon Mistaken talk, if you notice, they'll talk about a certain guy. They will give the disclaimer, and I know all black men aren't like this, and I know this ain't probably not even the majority of men. But since we're on topic, I'm gonna talk about the topic. They put it all on all black women,
Yeah,
every single podcast.
yeah,
Everything like y'all do it, and then Mistaken could be like, no, I think like this, and they like, no, you don't. You think like this, and Mistaken like, how can you tell me this is what I'm saying? This is what I mean. This is how I feel, and they're like, no, you don't. You just saying that because no. She's telling we're hello. This the disconnect here. Y'all not listening.
yeah. People gotta like really kind of focus on doing their work, and like I've kind of gotten the pulse from these conversations that like men are very uncomfortable being called out, but they love accountability. They'll call people out, but they're not willing to be called out. But there's a lot of work to be done.